What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. As you guys can tell, it is not the normal setup, and that is for a reason. This is the last episode that I'm making in this room. I am leaving it, moving to a new place, and that is kind of sad because I really loved it here. But with that being said, as we're saying goodbye to this video, I decided to make a quick video because Zenith has released a new Defy, and it's called the Defy Skyline. And just let me set the camera down, grab my coffee, and we can talk. So, actually, just before that, I have to say that the Defy line is my absolute favorite model of Zenith. And I think that, you know, if you were to say, or if you were to think that the beginning and the end of Zenith is always been El Primero, I wouldn't blame you too much. You know, it's kind of their hit model. And, you know, considering the fact that it's still one of the best calibers ever made, it's not really bad for them to constantly rely on their greatest hit. This year they decided to take a look at their other models, non-chronograph, the Defy, and they've decided to do some changes in it. Now, one thing that I've absolutely loved about the Defy is every time I'd see somebody wearing one, I would just see it from far and know immediately what watch that is, without even hesitation, without confusing it to another brand or anything. That watch is just so special. It's special, unique, so well thought and put together. I've absolutely loved the watch. There's zero complaints. Is my absolute favorite Zenith, and if there was a watch from Zenith that I could get right now, it would be the Defy. Apparently Zenith has thought that whatever I just said now is complete bullshit. They don't think that having a unique watch or a watch that people, you know, will never confuse to anything, that you can see it from far and spot it from a mile away and know exactly what watch that is. Zenith has thought that this is not actually that good. And we've seen it when they've introduced to us last year the El Primero Chronomaster. Well, they've released the Chronomaster that actually pretty much looks like the Daytona. So they did that, which was like fine. A lot of people were kind of excited, and they were like, you know, if we can get the Daytonas, we can get this. It's very similar and it's much cheaper, and it's available. Now, a lot of people closed their eyes to, you know, further critiquing this watch and just loved it, and I did too, up until they've released the new Defy. And here's where I think that Zenith is absolutely lazy. But first, let's look at the specs of the watch. So the watch is a 41 millimeter case, 12-sided bezel with an integrated bracelet. It offers 60 hours of power reserve, 100 meters of water resistance, and it retails at around $8,400 US. Now, let's talk quickly about the 12-sided bezel. So that is basically that, what we call octagonal type bezel that, let's say, Royal Oak has. And if you were to look, you obviously see the similarities, which the previous Defy did not have it. But a lot of the people would say, no, they haven't copied anything from the Royal Oak. They went back to the original Defy from 1969, where the watch had the similar type of bezel. And I did look at the pictures, and it's true. It's true. It looks like the 12 or 14 sides bezel. That's what it had at the time. It was way ahead of Royal Oak. It looks like they were the first ones to introduce that type of bezel. Now, that type of bezel didn't do very well for the Zenith, but it did extremely well a few years down the road for the Royal Oak. When we look at the new dial now, the new dial, if you look very closely, you will see that you have a nice pattern of 4 corner stars, which, you know, they kind of tend to say that it goes back to the Zenith logo, which is not even very close, but, you know, Zenith logo is a star. Now they decided to put stars in the dial, whatever. It does make sense. But the problem is when you go away to 2-3 feet away from the watch, you can't tell that those are stars. All it looks like is that they completely taken the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak dial and placed it on their watch. And that I can't do. That I just can't stand. Now, integrated bracelet for the Zenith has also been an older thing. It's not very new for them. The Defy has had integrated bracelet or leather strap or rubber strap. They've had this integrated thing for a very long time. But it was something different about the fact that, you know, there's many watches that have integrated bracelet, including the one that I'm wearing today, the Tudor Royale. But not all of the integrated bracelet watches look like the Royal Oak. I would say that there's a very fine line between you getting inspired from somebody who's bigger than you or ahead of you, doing better than you, and you copying the living shit out of that somebody who's ahead of you and doing better than you. I think there's a fine line, and you know, it really upsets me when brands don't really understand and they go full mode where they copy head to toe, and then they say, oh well, it's, you know, inspired from Royal Oak or whatever. Now when I look at the new Zenith, and with that being said, you know, with a lot of people commenting that the new Zenith Defy looks, you know, dates back to the original 1969, when I would put them side by side with the 1969 and the side by side with the Royal Oak, I mean, you guys can clearly tell me where it kind of leans more towards. If you look at the 1969, it had a completely different dial, very original, nothing like a Royal Oak and nothing like any other watch that you've seen. I just love the simplicity of it and the originality. That's it. And when we look at the new Defy Skyline, I see nothing special. And this is what kills me, is that watches or watch brands don't do anything special for us now. Now also, if we look back at the 1969, it had 300 meters of water resistance. What happened now? They gave us 100 meters of water resistance. Now I understand an $8,500 watch or $8,400 watch wouldn't really be that deep in the water anyway, so why the hell would you need it? But it always goes back to that fact that you're spending your money. You want your product, or you want the product that you buy to be unique. You don't want to just be like everybody else. And what has Zenith done with the Defy up until now, they had a very unique and very beautiful product, very special, very original, to the point where they've transformed that into something so damn basic, to the point where even a watch brand like Paul Rich, whatever that is, even this brand, like I wouldn't be able to tell which is which. They've gotten to a point where they're giving us a watch that looks exactly like a bunch of other watches out there, that, you know, movement wise nothing really has changed that drastically and improved, and water resistant used to be 300, now it's 100. So again, going back to that point where it's like, yeah, I understand, you know, maybe the watch won't go this deep in the water, and most people who spend this much on a watch, they're not really gonna take it in water, or that deep in the water. But the thing, it just goes back to all of these things combined and put together, where it's like, it shows the laziness. Absolute crazy to know how lazy a brand can be, where it's like, you expect something, you know, very unique, and you're very excited. Like we look at Rolex and we're, you know, love it or hate it. What do we say? It's like, let's predict what Rolex is going to release for the new year. Maybe they're going to do something cool. Maybe they're going to bring something back. Maybe. There's just so many maybes. And with the Zenith Defy, first of all, we didn't even expect to get a remodel on this watch. Second of all, I just wish they never did it. I just wish they wouldn't touch the Defy and just give it to us the way it was, because it worked and it was fine and it was beautiful. And now I'm just sad to see that, you know, they've given us a Homage Daytona, they give us an Homage Royal Oak. What are they gonna give us next? Is it gonna be an Homage Nautilus or some shit like that? We don't need that. They basically were like, hey guys, so remember last year, you know, we gave you an El Primero that looks exactly like Daytona, and you know, we kind of told you that, see, Daytonas are hard to get, you can get our watch. Well, this year we give you Royal Oak. You know what we're giving you next year? Yeah, exactly. We're gonna give you a Submariner or something like that, a Homage watch. That's just crazy, and that just like makes me throw up to see bullshit like this. And I'm just not excited at all. I'm not even gonna go into more details of this watch. Sure, it has a sub dial at 9 o'clock. It looks like a small second hand there. Dial is gonna be black, blue, and silver white. And that's it that you guys need to know about this watch, because there's nothing important about it. Do not buy it. It's another basic, simple bullshit integrated bracelet, blue dial, just like every other watch does. I've gotten to a point where I'm just getting sick and tired of seeing brands do that, and that's just too sad. That should stop. It was fine when one, two, couple brands kind of did an inspiration from the legends, and then it gets to a point now where it's like every watch from big to small is just throwing originality out the window and you know, supposedly getting inspired. So let me know what you guys think of the watch. I hope you agree with me, because it's trash, and I just really hope nobody buys it, because if people will buy it, then Zenith next year will definitely give us a new Hulk, and I'm not excited about that. So with that being said, I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.